Hey everybody, have you ever wondered why Shopify doesn't handle professional invoicing out of the box? Well, I've discovered something that's going to change how you think about your store's invoicing process. Now, running a Shopify store is challenging enough without having to worry about creating professional, compliant invoices for every sale. And that's where Sufio comes in. They're the trusted invoicing solution that's already powering over 6,000 Shopify stores worldwide. And what I love about Sufio is how it completely automates the invoicing workflow. So whether you're B2C or B2B, it automatically generates and sends professional invoices, credit notes, and other essential documents. No more manual work or worrying about tax compliance. Their system has been validated by certified accountants to meet regulations around the world. Now, here's what makes Sufio very special. They're officially recommended by Shopify B2B invoicing. That's a huge vote of confidence in my books. Their templates are professionally designed and are super easy to customize with your own branding. You get automatic tax calculations and compliance for both domestic and international sales. And here's the best part, their in-house support team actually helps you set everything all up. We're talking holding hands right from the beginning. So I've arranged something special for my listeners. If you visit sufio.com, that's sufio.com/fastlane, and you can get exclusive 90-day free trial. That's a full 3 months to transform your invoicing process and see the difference for yourself. Now remember, that's sufio.com/fastlane. Sufio is the professional invoicing made simple for Shopify stores. Plain and simple. So go check them out.
You're listening to eCommerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company, powered by Shopify. Listen to real conversations with partners and subject matter experts as they share proven practical strategies, platforms, and the best Shopify apps to help you accelerate your business. The time is now for you to improve efficiencies, grow revenue, profit, and lifetime customer loyalty. Please welcome your host, startup founder, and strategic advisor, Steve Hutt.
Welcome back to another episode of eCommerce Fastlane. I am your host, Steve Hutt, and today I'm thrilled to welcome Aaron Schwartz, who's the co-founder and CEO of a new company now. It's called Orita. It really is I'm going to call it a groundbreaking machine learning platform. I know it sounds like a lot of words here, but really what they're doing is they're transforming how brands are connecting with their customers, meaning getting into their inbox. Now, Aaron's journey is quite fascinating. I've had him on the show a few times. We've rubbed shoulders quite a bit over the years. You know, he started off he built and sold kind of like I call it like an early stage kind of D2C brand to Custom Ink. Then he was, co-founding a company called Passport Shipping. Then he continued on in the similar realm by being the president of Loop Returns, which is one of the Plus technology partners kind of in the post-purchase experience. Now with Orita, what he's done now is he's partnered with a couple, I'm going to put words in his mouth probably, but some brilliant machine learning engineers really to solve a really big problem right now with e-commerce. And it's kind of getting the right message to the right customer at the exact time that they need to get this message. And I think what's unique about the Orita platform, at least from my research, is that they have their own kind of custom machine learning models that really adapt daily to a individual brand's data. And, it just really, at the end of the day, it's really helping the email deliverability, and it's going to have some residual effects, obviously, of boosting sales and reducing some marketing costs. So I think it's a really timely episode right now. Being in Q1 right now, I think a lot of people, a lot of brand founders and marketers are have kind of gone through the holidays now, and they're like, okay, what happened in Q4? Let's look at, let's have a post-mortem. Okay, great. Now that we have that data, I think this is a great time now to think about what's going on from your email deliverability, and was it as good as it could have been? Could there have been some improvements? And that's kind of why I'm having Aaron on the show today to talk about his platform and kind of what he's building. So, hi, Aaron. Welcome again to eCommerce Fastlane.
Thanks, Steve. Pleasure to be here. You are hired as our next salesperson if you want to join. I think that was the most concise pitch of what we do that I've heard. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. And so, I'd love to hear it in your own words, though. I think more on a high level. I think it's because you talk about it a lot, but like, what does Orita actually do, and what are the kind of succinct problems that you're solving for brands today?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think the way to think about us is put on your brand owner hat. Right, your brand, you built a great list of customers, prospects over email, right? Just to simplify things. And you want to get in touch with them. And so the best brands will work with amazing Klaviyo agencies, or they'll be on Klaviyo platform, right? Or maybe Yelp or MailChimp or SendLane or Braze or, et cetera, right? But all the platforms, but I'll simplify to Klaviyo because that's our first platform. And your agency is amazing at strategy, and they help with segmentation and obviously on the creative side. The role that we play is to be kind of an accelerator to everybody. We are kind of like the outsourced data science team, the outsourced machine learning team, right? And so if you look at a generic Shopify brand, right, what we see is something in the ballpark of they have 80 million customer data points, 80 million. And those data points change daily, and the business changes daily, right? Did somebody click, purchase? Those are obvious data points, but did somebody start a return, leave a review, fill out a fairing survey? Like, all of that matters as well.
Right.
And then in the day in the life of a brand, are you a day closer to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, a day further? Do you have a new products launching? Is it Father's Day? And that's a big day for you. And so what we do is, you kind of nailed it, is we build a bespoke model truly for every single brand. And we help them understand on a daily basis who's super engaged and they shouldn't message, and who isn't. And the benefits of that, among others, are you make a lot more money, right? Like our job is to kind of truly increase revenue.
Yep.
And you can do it more efficiently. By sending to fewer people, specifically people who are unengaged, you start looking better to Gmail, you start landing in the inbox. That's that deliverability word, right? That you used before. And then the brand, to your point, it like talks to the right person at the right time, and you get the best shot at a purchase.
What's interesting is they talk about kind of traditional kind of email segmentation. I mean, there's a lot of kind of table stakes and best practices when it comes to how do we keep our list organized. But I think what's interesting is, like, my research shows that you guys have this thing called your machine learning growth models. Can you talk about why is that different from traditional segmentation? Are there any advantages that you're offering these merchants?
Yeah, so it's definitely additive to segmentation, right? Rules of thumb are rules of thumb because they work, right? So generally, if you look at, you say, hey, we're going to send an email to people who clicked in the last 90 days, you're going to capture most of your most engaged audience, at least through the email channel, right? Some people will never purchase from email, so you need to send them a text or a postcard or hit them up with retargeting ads or whatever. But within email itself, you're going to do a good job. The challenge is there are people who would love to hear from you over email, but maybe most recently clicked 91 days ago or 350 days ago. The risk for a brand is if you expand your segmentation to include all those people, and the reason people don't do this is Gmail will downrank you. You won't land in the inbox for the people who really, really, really want to hear from you. Our job is to go into the data and kind of find the cracks in the segmentation. So agencies like us, because our job is not to replace an agency at all. We couldn't possibly do it.
Right.
Our job is to say, like, great, you're going to handle all the segmentation. And again, the harder stuff, right? The strategy, the design, the creative. Like, our job is to go find those 1%, 5% of people who aren't in the rule of thumb segmentation that, like, you literally couldn't find by building the most robust Excel model in the world. It is a big data problem that you just need to kind of crunch the numbers for. We go find those people and we help the brand add it to that list. The other thing, because you kind of mentioned this, is about kind of email optimization.
Right.
Generic brands, and again, it's fun because I used to run a brand for almost a decade. So this was me. You'll send people emails and you'll be like, I know Steve didn't click on the last 7 emails, but I'm certain because this new product is awesome and the creative is beautiful. He's just going to click on it.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening after then is, like, if you don't click, and then maybe I send you a discount code, go 99% off, buy the product today, and you don't buy, I go, well, this is a dead contact. We might as well never email Steve again. And the reality is, like, it's probable that it's a dead contact at that point, but there's a non-zero chance that Steve maybe missed the email, right? Or it ended up in his spam or whatever, right? Your kid was sick. And so even if you would have loved to have purchased that day, it just got buried in your inbox. And so for a lot of our bigger brands, there's actually an insane amount of value from us monitoring what they thought was their dead list or their clean list. And so we talk a lot about email optimization. Somebody who's engaged today isn't going to be engaged forever. Somebody who's unengaged today isn't going to be unengaged forever. Like, think about yourself as a consumer, and you ebb and flow in your engagement with the brand. We try to capture that data.
Yeah, because I read something about these unengaged, I call them fans, but on this kind of do not disturb kind of list. But does that actually lead to better results? Like, I'm just trying to understand like the whole list optimization side of it. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It's great. This is the complex part, right?
Yeah.
So I think the best proxy, I think more people understand how Google works and Google search works, maybe than how Gmail works or inbox providers. You know, if you write good content and the content has critical keywords and it gets links back, and when people land on the site, they stay on the site and they engage with it, that Google is going to rank you higher, right? And that's like why Google search works so well.
Right.
Gmail is the exact same thing, but the metrics that they'll look at, yes, open rate, but much less so than they used to. Definitely click rate, right? Definitely like time on site matters. Do people stick around? Do you purchase, right? Do you basically engage with the content as Gmail sees it? Well, Steve, if you think about a brand with 1 million subscribers, like, so kind of a run-of-the-mill brand for us, there is likely 200,000 or 300,000 people that aren't engaged today with their email. Now, if it's Black Friday, you don't care, you send the email, right?
Yeah.
But 50 weeks of the year, you want to be really judicious about it. And it's not because you want to save a tenth of a penny, right? That's not why. It's because if you send to an extra 100,000 or 200,000 or 300,000 people who aren't engaged, Gmail will catch on to the fact that they're not engaged. Gmail will then downrank you as a sender. And then more of your emails will end up in the rest of your customers' spam than in their inbox. So it is a very complex math equation, right? There are other things that a brand needs to do to improve deliverability, right? Like, you need to set up your DMARC and DKIM, and like, I'll give you 15 more acronyms, right? It's like, you need to set the infrastructure. You need your content to be high quality content, right? Like, there's more obviously than just this, but we're solving the part that nobody else has been able to solve, which is really putting people on pause when they're unengaged.
Yeah.
So everybody else who's more engaged has a higher likelihood of seeing your email.
And so do you feel that actually helps a brand kind of avoid like the bots or the spam traps that can happen? Is that part of the platform? Was that something different?
For me, so that's actually a subset of what we do.
Okay.
So we turn off the people who are unengaged.
Okay.
What ends up happening is you also turn off people in that spirit who might click on subscribe. And by doing that, you save them for a period where there's more data that they're going to be engaged. Right. And so they may still unsubscribe whenever you, what our terminology is, reactivate them, whenever you basically send them that next email. But we are kind of lowering the risk threshold of them unsubscribing. Bots is a whole different issue. Again, we're an ML team. If there's a programmatic way to find like a bot out there or a bot farm, we will go find it. We will remove them. That also has a very big impact on deliverability. But that is not, you're never going to reactivate a bot. Or say, well, she might buy now. It's a bot, right? So you just want them gone forever. Spam traps, you want it gone forever.
And so let's talk a little bit about, there's another feature that I saw on the website too, and it's called the Orita Grow Audiences feature. And it appears to be, now, I'll kind of pass it to you, but it appears to be both a model and potentially a recipe. And we'd love if you can kind of explain how brands are using this kind of maximize their email campaigns.
Yeah. So if you think about kind of the first product, the Orita platform, the idea of that product is to remove people who are unengaged, but we don't really take an opinion if you should send an email to the other people or not. We're more telling you, hey, Steve, right, from Steve's T-shirts, these are hand raisers. If you want to send an email to them, email is a good channel for these people right now, right? But you as a brand owner or the agency aren't going to send an email to everybody who has their hand up all the time, right? You're going to run your strategy. You want to do a once a week campaign. Great. You have a new product coming, so you want to do a 3-part send. Wonderful. Orita Grow kind of flips the model on its head, where what we are looking for are basically the people with screaming signal that they really want to hear from you. It's like not just the hand raisers, it's the people jumping out of their seats, right? And so what we do with that is we give a brand an audience, right? It's a list that shows up in their Klaviyo. If you think about what's on that list, if I tell you it's the people who are most engaged, and my wife Sue clicked on the website a week ago, she's going to be one of the most engaged people that we say. You're also going to say, Sue's very engaged. She clicked a week ago, right? So the goal isn't to replace the segmentation. But as I kind of mentioned before, there's going to be that person who is not in your segment because they clicked 290 days ago. Or we see something else in the data that says, actually, the risk reward is worth sending it to that person. And so within our list will always be incremental folks. And what we have found is literally on a weekly basis, we're creating somewhere between 2%, 8%, a couple higher than that. But I would say like 2% to 8% incremental revenue is kind of our sweet spot, where it's like all the people who kind of fell through the cracks of your segmentation. In terms of the recipes and everything else, the question then is, if we give you this list, what else can you do? So one of our customers, The Perfect Gene, has talked about taking our list and putting it into email. And then people who don't engage there, putting it into Meta, right? So like there's more you can do if I tell you who's very engaged. We're still early days on kind of productizing all that stuff.
Right.
But, if nothing else, we were literally showing you, here's incremental revenue, go get it.
Right. Now, so how do the agencies fit into this? Obviously, Klaviyo is like the major player. I mean, the dominant force when it comes to Shopify Plus brands. It's kind of like the default install for most. But I also feel there's a lot of agency partners and a lot of brands that choose to kind of outsource that particular channel just for headcount reasons, bandwidth reasons, or just expertise reasons. So do you play nicely with these agency partners? Like, is there value for them? Because there's going to be agencies that are listening right now that go like, hey, we service a couple of hundred clients with their email and SMS. Is Orita a decent platform for an agency to take on to offer as a productized service, I guess, for their clients?
Yeah, it's funny. When we started the business, we thought two different constituencies might not like us. One was Klaviyo,
right?
Because, and again, I used to be this person when I was a brand owner, like most brands oversend, right?
Yeah.
And so the way we're going to help you up front is by optimizing your sends. We might actually tell you to send fewer emails to get the same amount of money.
Right.
But we tell every brand, and Klaviyo knows this. And the goal is to make email such a performant channel that you double your Klaviyo bill, but you're making so much more money from it that you're pumped about that, right? So Klaviyo likes us. We're an official partner. You can everybody here can sign up for a free audit through our website with a Klaviyo OAuth, right? It's one click. It's wonderful. Agencies was a second constituency because in general, we are doing something that touches what they work on, which is segmentation. But as I kind of mentioned, we don't touch strategy. We're not touching creative.
Right.
God help you if you trust us for creative. And so what we're doing the segmentation side is we are basically becoming their outsourced machine learning team. For those of old enough who might think back this way, it's like if you're in high school and it's a math test and you get to bring a TI-83 calculator and everybody else is using paper and pencil. It's a cheat code, right?
Yeah.
You still need to know how to do it. So it's not like, okay, cool, just turn on Orita, right? Like agencies, to your point about those recipes before, agencies get to go be really, really creative because we just give them a great list to work with. And so, we have, I think, 60 plus signed Klaviyo agencies. We work with A&B, we work with Sticky, Roswell, Fireside, Medicaid.
Nice.
A bunch of great agencies.
Biggies.
I feel bad even listing some because you can go to our site and see them all.
Yeah, I'll find out.
But you know these guys, right?
Yeah.
And so I think part of it is just they see us as a cheat code, which is cool because they also give us so much better, it's helpful as a channel partner. But they're incredible with product feedback, right? If you have this amazing data science team, great, set the prompt for us and we can go we can go solve it for you. That's kind of how we see it.
It's amazing, kind of like a white label kind of back office tool that really an agency founder or partners get to use. But then at the end of the day, the merchant is the one that's winning, and they don't really care how they're winning, just the fact that they're winning.
Steve, that's it. Our objective is to be a brand's best friend.
Yeah,
we don't make more or less money if you send one incremental email, or we just launched our direct mail product, you send a postcard. We just launched, or we're just coming soon, we're launching our SMS product. Our objective is for the brand to grow profitably. And we've tried to remove all conflicts in that.
Very interesting. I noticed and you kind of alluded to it a bit here. There's a lot of case studies.
Yeah.
Kind of early adopters that got on board. I noticed Psycho Bunny, for example. My son's a big, huge fan of that brand. But there's lots of brands on here. Italic is massive. Yep. There's a whole bunch of them. Is there any one of note that's kind of like a Shopify powered business? You're like, hey, here's what their life was before Orita, and then 8 weeks later, here's kind of what happened by implementing the platform.
I think. Look, it is hard enough to run a brand, so there's no thank God Orita exists for these guys. Having been in their shoes, anything I say, it's they would have been fine without us, right? I'll talk about some of the results, but our job is to kind of amplify their work. So let me caveat everything by saying I know where we sit in the mix, which is the brand's dealing with a lot. Look, obviously you mentioned Psycho Bunny. We just launched a case study with them with the Grow product that you were asking, right? Those audiences. They made something on the magnitude of 50K in incremental sales in the first 2 months with this product. And now keep in mind, that is as bad as the product will ever be, right? It was the first iteration of a model. It didn't actually account for, there's like another 100K in revenue, which Steve, I'm not going to go into, that they would say we actually could have attributed to them. So that is one. It's like, it's a huge brand, right? So the percentage obviously doesn't matter, but in terms of like their ROI, I think it was like 26x in like hard dollar ROI in the first month.
Yeah.
But it was really more like 50 or 100 if you actually accounted for everything, right? So like that was one. Caraway was a really interesting case study for us. I mean, obviously an incredible brand.
Oh, yeah.
They would be very fine if we didn't exist, but I think they like us. The biggest thing with them is kind of what I was saying before around clean lists. They had like almost every brand of scale that's been around for a while. They clean their lists, right? At some point they've been like, look, we need to shrink it. I'm making up the numbers, but like we have 2 million people. We want to get it down to 1.6 million. Who's the least engaged folks? We immediately started monitoring their clean lists, right? Like all the lists, like all the people, all the profiles who had like been put inside before we started working with them. And it found truly, non-exaggeration, over 500K in incremental revenue, right? So like that's one of our case studies, but obviously something we're proud of. If you're a small brand or you've never cleaned your list, we can find 0 incremental revenue, right? Of like people who you previously cleaned. Right. But that's just like a nice aside. I think one other one that's pretty cool is Tracksmith, which uses the platform and Orita Grow. It was actually one of our beta customers for direct mail. And like the idea of direct mail is the same thing. Bring data science on top of direct mail sends. So in this case, we partner with Postpilot, but again, we're platform agnostic. We can work with anybody. And so they have now opened up direct mail, and it's something that they've done in the past, but we've shown like because of holdout groups and doing this the right way, like truly incremental revenue for them. Klaviyo footwear, same thing. They've done a couple direct mail sends. They've used our other products. So yeah, I don't know, man. I feel really fortunate. Like a lot of these brands are brands that I obviously shop from.
Yeah, 100%.
Or it's just like brands that I've had the pleasure of serving at Loop or Passport too. So it's like, it's very cool as like having been in the space for a while, they get to work with such incredible kind of operators.
So let's talk about the onboarding process. It's always interesting to me about like, if a brand's listening now and like, hey, they believe that there is an AI component that's missing in these recipes and just the underlying technology you have. Clearly it's working. It's unique and new and different, and only early adopters are really getting to enjoy the benefits of it. Hence why we're having the show. It's going to get into the wider view of the lens of a lot of people in our ecosystem. But if someone says, yes, I want to give this a whirl, like, can you walk us through what the onboarding process would be like?
Yeah, there is no NetSuite integration. Or very soon, Good Day software integration. Okay. If you're a state-of-the-art e-commerce company, you want to see that next kind of iteration of that ERP product. I'm sure you've met Kyle and talked to him.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you know about the retail OS.
I do.
Look, the hard part for us is building the model. So the way we work with brands is we give them a free deliverability audit. You go to our website, you connect Klaviyo. It truly is a couple of clicks, right? Klaviyo OAuth. We then build a custom model for you. If you're a small brand, it could be a couple of days. If you're a huge brand, it literally could be a couple months. We're fixing that. Like that's just a data ingestion issue. Nothing here, anybody here needs to know about.
Right.
The vast majority of our brands, it's a week or two. That effectively is the onboarding. We go build a model on your brand's data.
Okay.
We build an audit of that. We do a lot of QA to make sure it's on point. And then we jump on a call with you and we walk you through what we see in your data. And we're not for everybody, right? Like some brands are just like their deliverability's through the roof. They've never cleaned their list. So like there's nothing there. But for most people, we even if they don't end up choosing to work with us, they get a lot of insights, I would say. And then after that call, we send a Stripe invoice and it's month to month. And we literally get going within a day. Like the hard part again is building the model, but we've built it so that the actual onboarding, like once you pay, is immediate. There's no 3-month integration or anything like that. But you kind of mentioned something earlier too about like the holiday and how brands are thinking about it as we kind of walk into Q1 and we're thinking about 2025 strategy.
Right.
What happens for most brands after holiday is they shrink their list very aggressively. Like, well, that was our busy season. No need to send so many emails. And the risk of shrinking your list aggressively is you might be foregoing sales because you shrink it too far. So you miss people who are engaged. Mm-hmm. Or you might be spending too much on emails and still foregoing sales because you send too many emails and you get downranked by Gmail. And so we actually like the end of the year, end of 23, early 24 was like our most explosive time in the business because so many brands were like trying to figure out deliverability and landing in inboxes. And we kind of expect the same right now.
So And how do you price the product? Is it by a number of subscribers?
Yeah, it's purely on list size and who we're monitoring. So if there's like a list of people that you don't even want us to monitor, you bought a brand, you're literally never going to use that list. We don't charge on that. It is the rare product where the bigger the brand is, the more impactful we are, but we just do straight line pricing, right? Imagine like if you've got 1 million subscribers versus you've got 10 million, there's actually like not just a magnitude more, but there's even more data points because there are more connections. And so our models are better with more data, but that's it. We're very black and white.
Yeah. This is lovely. Okay, well, I've learned a ton. I think this is the key to the show is just to really share what's new and what's, I can say, up and coming. But because clearly there's a lot of early adopters on here and agency partners that are seeing tremendous value kind of in this platform. And I feel blessed that I have the opportunity to chat with you again today, because I feel that you're always on the forefront of kind of like new innovation that's really, utilizing some brain power and some technology of machine learning models. And then just, for brands to execute with, agency partners to execute with. And at the end of the day, it's just like you said, you want to be the best friend to the merchant and help them grow their business with their existing list and staying out of the spam box, the deliverability, the right customer at the right time. I think you're really onto something fantastic. And I just wanted to thank you for coming on the show and sharing this opportunity today.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. As a frequent listener, thank you for all you do for the community and for the ecosystem too. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, it's lovely. Well, I wish you tremendous success. I know we're recording kind of like pre-Christmas right now, but have a lovely holidays, and this is going to go out in the new year. And once again, those listening, if you feel that maybe the performance of your existing list right now, I think Aaron has kind of like hit the nail on the head. There's opportunity in that list. There's money being left on the table right now, and I believe connecting at least start by having them run a model and then have a meeting to discuss what they found with your existing list. And I see the one-click connection with Klaviyo. It's an easy process to onboard. So I wish everybody a lovely Q1 and happy New Year for everyone. And thanks again for recording. Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you personally for being a loyal listener of eCommerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company powered by Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.